Please be seated. The court is now back in session, and the chamber would like now to give the floor to the defense team for Nuon Chea to put questions to this civil party. I notice an assigned lawyer for civil party on his feet. You may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President, Your Honors. I wish to clarify that we didn't, for the last date, the defense for Nuon Chea was referring. It is indeed not sent to English or French translation. It was in the Khmer original. Therefore, because it was not sent to translation, if the defense so challenged, I would leave the chamber to decide. I have no problem to withdraw these last two questions, which I refer to these dates.
No, that's not necessary. If the date is found in the Khmer version, but it is mistakenly not translated, then it's not needed. And then I'm satisfied.
President, thank you for the clarification, and now you may proceed. Sunrisa Council for Nuon Chea. Good afternoon, Mr. President, and good afternoon, Madam Civil Party. My name is Sunrisa. I am Council for Nuon Chea. I have some questions for you in relation to your recollection of events that occurred during the Democratic Cambodia regime. We have two main topics. First is related to your activities living in the cooperative, and second is related to your marriage. And for the second topic, my colleague will put questions to you. A question, can you recall when did you arrive at the Tramkok cooperative? Answer. I simply recall that I arrived there in early 1975, and for the exact date I have to refer to my book. Question. Upon your arrival, where did you settle in? Answer. Upon my arrival, I lived at the house of my parents-in-law in Trapang Chumreu village, Trapang Thom commune, Tramkok district. Question. Upon your arrival and after you lived there, when did you become part of the cooperative? Answer. It is my recollection that I was allowed to rest for 4 to 5 days. Then I was asked to dig earth to make a big pond. Question. Was a cooperative established at the time, or did you go there at your own will? Answer. During the Democratic Cambodia regime, we could not go anywhere at our own will. We had to follow our team, and there were the team chief. Question. And before groups were established, were you called to a meeting where you were informed that you would be a part of that group or team? Or how did it happen? Answer. At the beginning, I did not know about the management under the DK regime. However, there was a group chief who told us that that night we had to go and dig a pond. So we all just followed the group chief. Question. When did you realize that there was a cooperative there? Answer: I knew by myself that during the Democratic Cambodia regime, everyone belonged to a group or a team, regardless of whether they were old, they were best people or new people, and we would do work according to what we were assigned to do. Question: when did they establish this communal dining hall or collective eating? Answer: in my diary, that collective eating was from the 9th of February 76. But let me state that when we worked far from the village, we also have to have this collective eating. So it happened from early on, but I wrote that date down in my diary.
Question: before communal eating was established, you could eat alone in your family. Is that correct? Answer: yes, that is correct. Question: during the communal eating, how many people were asked to eat together? Answer: new people, base people, we ate collectively. 4 of us ate together in one group, and for new people, normally we would eat with new people, and for base people, they would eat with their base people. This was a kind of class distinction. Question: I heard you said there was distinction between the base people and new people. Was there any distinction decided? Answer: there was no official distinction or separation between new and old people. Council: that's what I want. I want such answer. During the separation between new people and base people in the communal eating, so was there any distinction also between the meals? Answer: I do not know there was any kind of distinction between meals. Council: I would like to continue the question concerning your work condition. During the time you were in cooperative, what kind of work were you assigned to do? Upon my arrival, during the dry season, I was asked to carry dirt or earth. I was asked to dig canal and make dike. Sometimes I go to make the cottons with the old ladies. I carried fertilizer to fields. During the rainy season, I transplanted, I harvested the same as other people. Question: were there any other members have different work? Did they have the same work as you did? Answer: yes, we had the same work. It was a communal work. Question: was there any separation that news people had to do serious work and base people had to do light work? Answer: at the time, there were separation of force. One is those who have strong energy, and we have the group who have moderate energy and who do not have much energy. Question, and I believe that there was separation between the adults and also the children. Is that true? There was no answer from civil party. Heard by interpreter. Counsel, yesterday you said that you could not select the work by yourself. My question is, if you did not have the right to select the work, so what did you do at the time if you wanted to select the work? Answer, I did not have the right to choose the work I do. However, because I was weak, I asked to do other duties. I was about 36 or 37 kilograms at that time, and I could not assign to the first group. That is those who have strong or have much energy. Question. So, you mean during the time people were weak and did not have much energy, they could go to do light work. Is that true? Answer. Interpreter could not hear the answer from civil party. President, civil party, please speak while a microphone is operational. Otherwise, interpreter could not hear you and interpret into foreign languages. Answer, yes, that is true. Counsel, I would like to clarify another point in relation to your break time. In that period, while you were working, if you had other business, other personal business, did you have freedom to relax? Answer. Whenever we submitted a request for leave, we could be entitled to it. Otherwise, we would not be entitled to leave. Counsel, thank you. What about other people in your commune? Was the same rule applied to them during the time they had personal business and they were sick? Could they take leave? Answer, it applies to all for this rule. And the chief of the unit, the chief of the group could grant leave for those who submitted the request. Counsel, was there any rules imposed for rest or for break times for the workers there? Answer, each and everyone in Pol Pot time, if we realize that we recovered from our disease or illness, and then we dare not pretend to be weak and stay at home. And whenever we could work, and we had to go to work. Counsel. So what you said is that you work at your own. You work and you were afraid of the order. Is that true? Answer, yes. We tried our best. We were afraid of those people. That is why we had such feeling. Counsel. My next question concerning the time you deliver your baby. You said you deliver your babies in the period, and I will not go in detail concerning the time you were hospitalized. During the time you were about to deliver the baby, were there any ones in your family accompanying you to the hospital? Answer: no, there was no anyone going with me. But during the time I was admitted into hospital, my elder sister had already been there. Question: what about your husband? Did he go to visit you at the time? Answer: when he heard that I was about to deliver the baby, I saw him there. He was allowed to visit me. Question: did your husband and your elder sister stay there and look after you? How many days could they stay there to look after you? Answer: my sister had already been there already, in the hospital already, and my husband was with me all the time after I delivered the baby, because I could not get up after the delivery. Question: after you delivered your baby 10 days, were your husband there after that time? Answer: after 10 days of my delivery, he never came to visit me again, because he went to farm 108 to work. And as for my elder sister, she came to visit me quite often as well. Counsel: thank you. I would like to quote your statement, document D22/3248, ERN 00562881. I would like to quote your statement. During daytime, during break time, he came to visit me quite often. My elder sister came to take care me instead of my husband until I was strong enough. Was this your statement? Is this your statement? Answer: yes. As I said, my elder sister had already been in the hospital. Counsel: thank you, Madam Civil Party, and I have no further question. I would like now ask the chamber to hand over the floors to my learned friend for further questions. Mr. President, thank you very much. You may now proceed, Mr. International Counsel.
Good afternoon, Ms. Omsompani. My name is Victor Kopper. I am the international lawyer for Nuon Chea, and I have a few questions for you. My first question to you is about the excerpts that were read to you by your lawyer. Excerpts from, I describe it as a book with a title, and I speak it I call it French. Quand on se rencontrera. My question to you is the following: did you send this transcript, this manuscript, to DC Cam in the framework of a literature contest?
Answer: I wrote my book based on my diary. I did not know how you see from my writing. It was about my own account during Pol Pot time. It is from my collection. I wrote my book in 1980.
My question was whether you sent it to DC Chem, and did you in fact win a third prize in that literature contest?
Answer. This book, in 2004, the Documentation Center of Cambodia held a contest concerning the writer writing a book about decay period, and I selected my book and joined the contest, and I won the third prize. The center wants to have the accounts from the period. That is why I joined the contest and I won third prize.
Thank you for your answer. My other question relating to a book of yours is the following. Did you also write a book with a title in English, Under the Drops of Falling Rain?
Answer. Yes, it was me, the writer. My neighbor said to me that Madame Supani wrote almost every day, and there was now a contest, and then I chose this book for the committee to see. And at the time, I was told that novel, usually we did not include just dates. We need to include characters in the novel. That is why I included some detail concerning the death of my elder sister, and also some information when I was in the forest. Actually, that book is not actually about my real accounts. It was mixing up. It is mixed up with other accounts, and I was asked by the government. Later, I work I work in the local area, and I also include some detail from my experience during the time. So this book includes my accounts, my real account, and also some other information. And at the time I applied this book for the contest, I also won in the contest. In 2004, I applied the book called Whenever We Meet for the contest, and I won again.
Thank you. That book with the title Under the Drops of Falling Rain, was that first published in 1997?
Answer. I won prize in 1989. I made some copies at that time, and Madame Ingrid's mom said that my book, which was in contest, is very good because it's about real account, and then he helped publishing the English version. After that, Tunle Saab Publishing House published my books. There are many books, many more of my book won winning prize in France, and I do not know which book that wins the prize in France. And I know that some of the association in France published some of my books there. President, you may now resume your questioning, Mr. Victor Kope.
Thank you, Mr. President. Madam Civil Party, just to understand correctly, am I saying it right when I say that your book with the title Under the Drops of Falling Rain was published in 1997, and that is my question. There was an official English translation in 2011. Is that correct?
Answer: it is not correct. The translation was done earlier than that, and only the copies of the books were made copies, and then the copies were sold, I guess. The copies was published rather, and I do not know when it was published. I only knew that Tonle Sap publishing firm published my book.
Do you still have the English translation, the official published English translation, in your possession?
Answer: yes, I have. You can find it on sale at Monument Bookstore. You can find it at Monument Bookstore.
We tried, but we failed. We asked your lawyers, and they don't have one either. Would you be willing, if I would ask you to present an English version of your book so that we could make a copy of it?
Answer: you may go to Monument Bookstore or any other bookstores. You will find a copy.
Well, I'm afraid that's not the case, because it's officially out of print, we are being told. So that's why my question to you, whether you would be willing to give a copy to the tribunal, and then we can make our own copy.
President, you have the floor now, civil party lawyer.
Your Honor, I don't know what is the intention of the defense lawyer to request a document from the civil party. If it's requested as a new evidence, I believe they should submit a 87-4 request before the examination. And at this point, I don't see how that is relevant to her testimony today.
There's no hidden tactics here. I just would like to read the book one day. I'm interested in the story of the civil party, that's all. Nothing more. I won't come back to it, so no worries.
President, you may continue your questioning. Mr. Kope, you can pose the new questions.
I will, Mr. President, but not before I re-ask again whether the civil party would be so kind and willing to present the tribunal with a copy of your English translation, the English translation of your book, and that we can read it. Well, the objection was overruled. I'm sorry.
Your Honor, I didn't hear you overruled my objection. Actually, at this point, I formally object this request to ask a civil party directly submitting request from the defense lawyer to directly submitting a document to the chamber.
It's a book which is in the public domain. It's the book. It's not.
President, the objection is sustained because this book is not in the case file. New evidence should be submitted in accordance with Internal Rule 87.4. And as for requesting the copies of the books, you can make the request personally, and you could see her personally. And she already said that the book is available in the Monument Bookstore, so you can go there and ask for one. Mr. Gope, do you have further questions?
Yes, I do. Ms. Omsobani, did you win a prize for this book, Under the Drops of Falling Rain, a prize in Bangkok from the Southeast Asian Writers Award?
Answer, that is true. In 2007, I went to receive the prize in Bangkok.
Do you remember why you received the prize for your book Under the Drops of Falling Rain?
President, civil party, you may not need to respond to that question. It is not relevant to facts in the case.
Mr. President, would you be so kind enough to explain why it's not relevant?
President, it is not relevant to testifying facts in the case. It goes beyond the facts in the case. I believe in Khmer it is clear enough what I said.
Fine, I will move on. Madam Civil Party, I would like to go back to something that you said yesterday on a question of your lawyer. At 13 hours, 48 minutes and 54 seconds, you said, and I quote from the unofficial English translation, "When I wrote the diary, whatever I kept in my heart, I expressed and let it out through the diary, so I felt relief." Do you remember that you said that yesterday?
Answer, I said that.
Could you please explain a little bit more what you meant with these words?
I wanted to say that some people who suffered or had a bad feeling, they kept it inside and did not like to express it. For me, writing is the only way to let out the suffering or the sorrow I kept inside.
If I would concentrate on, let's say, the first 3 months of your diary after 17 April 75, would you agree with me if I say that whatever you felt those days, weeks or months, or whatever you saw, or whatever you heard or experienced, you would write down?
Yes, indeed.
In the first 3 months of your diary, you describe the evacuation from Phnom Penh on 17th of April 1975, and your arrival in the house of the parents of your future husband. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
I have read with great interest your diary, and I've also seen the excerpts from one of your books. And yesterday you testified in answering a question that en route you saw people die, a lot of dead people on the road. You remember you said that yesterday in your testimony.
Yes, that is true.
I try to find in your diary a similar remark indicating that you saw dead bodies on the road. But there is no such entry in your diary. Do you remember why the fact that you saw dead bodies when you were evacuated did not end up in your diary?
I wrote about seeing dead bodies in the book. In fact, I stated that I only made brief notes in my diary, and I expanded it in the book in 1980. And 1980 was still very fresh, and my memory and my recollection was well preserved. And that's how I wrote it down in the book, that while en route I saw many dead bodies, and sometimes at night time I slept near some dead bodies as well. There were so many dead bodies.
But am I correct in assuming that when you wrote your diary in those first months after 17 April 75, you didn't know yet that you were going to write a book about these events? Correct?
Could you please repeat your question, Counsel?
When you wrote your diary in the first 3 months after 17 April 75, you didn't know that you would later write a book about your experiences. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Maybe my question wasn't clear, but would you be able to explain why the fact that you saw dead bodies didn't appear in your diary, but does appear 5 years later in your book?
Your Honor, I believe when the civil party, when she was answering my question, she said she wrote a song, and then she explained she see many bodies. That's why she's on the road, and that's why she wrote the song. It's not what she, at least not in her question, in her answer. It's not what she wrote in her book. So I think that question from the defense counsel needs to be rephrased.
I'm not sure if I understand the objection. My question is relating to dead bodies on the road during the evacuation. You testified to that yesterday, but I don't find it in the entries of your diary in those first 3 months. Considering the fact that you said that whatever came into your heart or mind you would write down. My question is, do you have an explanation why those dead bodies do not appear in your diary?
Your Honor, if the question is phrased in this way, I'm not objecting this question. Thank you.
President Council, could you ask the civil party again? It seems that she did not get your question. So please repeat your last questions to her.
I will. Madam Sumupani, yesterday you testified that you saw dead bodies on the street, on the roads, during the evacuation in the first months after 17 April 75. I read your diary in the first 3 months after 17 April 75. I see entries for every day, but I don't see any entry saying I saw dead bodies. There might be a good explanation for this, but do you remember or do you know why you didn't write that in your diary?
The reason that I did not write in my diary is that it was so tragic. And of course, I saw what I saw, and it sticks in my memory, and that's why I wrote it in the book. And if you ask people who are about my age and who are survived, then you would know that there were dead bodies at the time. There were fierce fighting between the Khmer Rouge force and the former regime soldiers while they attacked and entered Phnom Penh. For that reason, there were a lot of dead bodies. And I was shocked when I saw it. And in some of my books, I did write about the dead bodies. I included the part where I saw dead bodies.
Thank you for your answer, but would you be able to explain that other thing that you said yesterday? When you said, when I wrote the diary, whatever I kept in my heart, I expressed and let it out through the diary. I felt relieved.
That is correct. For me, I like to write, and as I express it in the song that I wrote, when I write down whatever I felt, then I felt relief.
I will move on, Ms. Sofani. Reading your diary, reading the first 3 months of your diary, am I correct when I say that it was your decision to leave Phnom Penh to go to the house of the parents of your future husband? That it was your decision to go to your parents-in-law house. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And is it correct that it took you about a month to reach the house of your parents-in-law?
Yes, because at that time there was no transportation and I had to walk on foot. And sometimes I had to rest en route when my family member was not well or when I was unwell, and it took us months to reach that village.
Would you be able to estimate how many kilometers it is from Phnom Penh to the village where the house of the parents of your husband is situated?
The distance was about 68 kilometers. However, I did not take the direct road. Sometimes we walked off-road through rice fields and sometimes we were stopped.
Would you be able to explain why it ultimately took 1 month to reach the house of the parents-in-law?
President, the signed lawyer for civil party, you may proceed.
Your Honor, I waited 2 questions before I do this objection because I also want to see where this is going. But we're now in the trial, case 002/2, and in Tram Court segment, I don't know the questions on evacuation from Phnom Penh, which has already been adjudicated, how that will help us ascertain the truth in this segment. Thank you.
President, we have heard the questions, and the last question is repetitive. And in fact, the civil party responded to that question. Secondly, the objection raised by the assigned lawyer for civil party is sustained, as your question is far from the facts before us now. And Counsel Coupe, please move on.
Mr. President, that's a very interesting decision. And I think I would like to hear the decision of the whole bench on this. Am I not allowed to ask any questions relating to the first months after 17 April 75? Because if that is the case, then I think that's a new viewpoint on this trial. So, if it's the decision of the
President interrupts. The chamber already decided that your last question to this civil party was already responded on the various reasons she took it rather long to reach the house of her parents-in-laws, which was about 67 kilometers. Please refer through the transcript. That's right. I instructed you that avoid this repetitive question, as the civil party has already replied to that question. And your question, as observed by the bench, is far from the fact is being debated before us. And please refer to the specific facts which are being debated at this time in order to expedite the proceedings.
I'm not sure if I understand what you're saying, but that happened more often, I think.
President, we already decided and ruled on that, on why the civil party took it rather long to travel from Phnom Penh to her parents-in-law's house. And she already replied to that due to various reasons, including sickness, including not traveling through a direct route, and that she was being stopped. And your last question was to that point, and of course it was repetitive, and you are not allowed to ask repetitive questions, as it will delay the proceedings, and it will lead to contradiction in the responses.
Very interesting, Mr. President. Thank you. Madam Sopani, I will move to a little later in your diary. I'll move to 17 June 1975 and to the day later, Wednesday, 18 June 1975. Do you remember by heart what happened on these days?
No, I cannot recollect it. I have to refer to my diary for that.
Okay, I will assist you, Madam Civil Party. English ERN 010364660, Khmer ERN 010329550. Entry of 18 June 1975. I did not go to work. During the daytime, I went to the social affairs and then entered the village pounding the rice. Yi Nam made cake in preparation for my wedding. At night, we held a religious ceremony. I wore a yellow silk shirt. My husband wore blue pants and a white shirt. The 10th day of the waxing moon. My husband still has leg pain. Now that I have assisted you, Madam Civil Party, do you remember that you wrote that?
Yes, I do. That was my wedding day.
Would you be able to tell us something more about that day? Maybe some more memories come to mind when you think of that day?
I recall that at that time I was helping grinding the rice to make a cake, and my mother and before I left Phnom Penh, I was still single, but my future mother-in-law told me that I had to tell them that we were husband and wife. Otherwise, we would not be allowed to be together because we, that is my family, were Phnom Penh dwellers. As for my husband's family, they were half base people and half new people, as some children studied in Phnom Penh, and that we could not be together. So my mother-in-law advised me that we had already marriage, but she wanted us to marry again before her eyes, and it was not really a big ceremony, as we had just left Phnom Penh, and there was a monk from Angkor Pagoda, and after that we had to make a resolution. There was this unit chief who asked us, as in a Catholic church, that whether I loved my husband, and I said I do, and my husband was asked the same thing, and he replied, yes, he did. And at the beginning, everything was not that strict yet, as we could dress with our own clothes. And in fact, I still have the clothes that I wore on that day.
Thank you, Madam Sopani. Just to be sure, you that day married the man that you were in love with, the man that you knew 17 April 75 in Phnom Penh, and that's the man with the name Sunan. Am I correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And is it correct that since that day, 18 June 1975, you were married with that man the years after? Is that correct?
Yes.
Would you be able to tell us how long in total you were married to your husband?
We married in 1975 and we remained husband and wife until today.
Thank you. Madam Sopani, did you ever give an interview to the Phnom Penh Post?
Pardon my recollection, I cannot recall a specific interview because I've been interviewed by many news outlets and media, and it is probably yes, because I've been interviewed by magazines and various other media.
Were you interviewed by the Phnom Penh Post in May 2013 together with your son?
Your Honor.
President, assigned counsel for civil parties, you may proceed.
Your Honor, that's a very specific information. I wish to know where is that question coming from. What that is. The first civil party already answered that is probably yes. She has been interviewed by many newspapers and articles. But then before maybe Victor can be so kind to explain to us why he's asking this question, which document based on he's asking that question. And this is a very specific question. I wish to not to lead the mistakenly a civil party to answer that question before we see that document.
My reply would be, counsel, do your homework. My question is it correct? Did you give an interview together with your son in May 2013 to the Phnom Penh Post?
Yes, that is correct.
Do you remember with whom you spoke of the Phnom Penh Post? Which reporter?
She was a female foreigner. That's all I can recall.
Would it be possible that her name is Rosa Ellen?
Yes, that is correct.
What else do you remember about this interview that you gave together with your son to this Phnom Penh Post reporter?
I was asked about the events that happened during the Khmer Rouge regime.
Mr. Supani, did you tell this Phnom Penh Post reporter that you were forcibly married?
President, the international lead co-lawyer for civil parties, you have the floor.
Merci, Monsieur.
Thank you, Mr. President. I haven't objected thus far, but I think it is quite obvious now that our learned friend, Kope, is relying on a document. There is a cardinal principle before this chamber, the principle of adversarial hearings, which means that all the parties should be able to understand what documents are used by the parties. You have, by the way, created a document called the interface, which enables parties to place documents at the disposal of the other parties. So I would now request you, Mr. President, to urge Mr. Kope to abide by the principle to share documents that they rely on in examining witnesses in order that the prosecutor or the prosecutors and the civil parties may know where he is headed in a courtroom like this one.
I'm not in court relying on a document, Mr. President. I'm asking questions about an interview, and all my questions have been answered with yes. I'm not presenting the civil party a document. I'm not relying for evidence reasons on document.
The time is actually appropriate for today's adjournment. The chamber will adjourn now and will resume it on Monday, the 26th of January 2015, commencing from 9 a.m. And Madam Supani, the hearing of your testimony as a civil party has not yet concluded. and we will continue to hear it again on Monday the 26th January 2015, and for that reason you are invited to return to provide the remainder of your testimony on that day. Likewise, for the support staff from TPO, please assist the civil party during the remainder of her testimony on Monday. And the court is now adjourned and will resume, as I just stated, on Monday next week. Court officer, in cooperation with the VISU, please assist the civil party and the TPO support staff to return to their respective accommodation and help them return to the courtroom on Monday morning of the 26th January 2015 before 9 a.m. And please have them wait in this main courtroom on that morning. And security personnel, you are instructed to take the two accused back to the detention facility and have them return to the courtroom on Monday morning of 26 January 2015 before 9 a.m. The court is now adjourned.